It's the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul, the podcast about stories in business and in life with your hosts Ed Fox and Paul Odendahl. G'day viewers and listeners. Hey, it's another great episode of the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul with my fabulous co-host. He didn't pay me to say that.
Joe Scott. Oh, no, Paul Odendahl. Very good. Very good.
Paul and I are wearing our American flag shirts. We like to copy each other. Paul's got a hat, but until he puts up his green screen, he can't wear his hat. So he'll have a hat.
Anything else you want to point out to our viewers about? Anything else, Ed?
Do you have your Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul?
Oh, yes. By the way, folks, you can purchase our Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul.
Just send Paul an email.
Waking up is Ed and Paul on your cup.
I don't know that we can get away with that. Maybe Folgers doesn't use it anymore. Maybe we can.
We just did.
Folgers?
We just did.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway.
No, actually, I'm drinking water.
Okay. So I hear we have a man from that has 4 first names, and we didn't get to that before we started recording. So Joe Scott, what's the elongated version of that name?
Joseph Ronald Leon Scott.
Okay. And what's the significance of those of the first 3?
Well, Joseph is like in my family, my grandfather, my 2 uncles, and myself, we all have similar middle names.
Okay.
Different first names.
Okay.
So my grandfather and my uncle, they were the same. They were William Robert Lee Scott. And then I had another uncle. His name was Cornelius Ronald Leon Scott. And now I'm Joseph Ronald Leon Scott.
There you go. That'd be fun with initials. You could have some fun with that, I'm sure. So, yeah. Joe, tell us a little bit about, or where are you located in the country?
I'm in Long Island, New York.
Okay.
In South Hempstead.
Cool. And tell us a little bit about what the Rise Up Financial Agency is.
Full service with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning. We also have some extension services such as credit repair and notary services as well.
Oh, wow.
So, Joe, how long have you been in the insurance industry? It's interesting. I've known the industry for a few years.
I've been in the industry officially about 6 years now. And this venture as my own agency, almost 2 years now.
God bless. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Servicing and helping people in need. What a blessing.
Absolutely.
Where are you licensed? Like, what is your service area that you can work with people on?
I'm actually licensed in about 10 states. So I'm licensed in New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, Florida, and a few more would be Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, where I'm originally from, and North Carolina.
Okay.
Joe, I know a little bit about the insurance industry, a little bit.
Okay.
So, a little bit. So, this is for you and for our listeners. This is one of the main purposes of our call. You're a perfect guest. One of our main purposes of our call is to support the communities out there with positive, inspiring conversation. Also share successes and failures. Failures are just as important. And now, kidding with you, I've got 40 plus years in the business. For the listeners out there, I've adopted this young man. He's like a son to me. He's also a member of our BNI chapter, and he's my mentee. And I just love this gentleman.
Yes.
And one of the things we try to accomplish is helping you with situations, and there's a lot of situations when you're new in the insurance industry that you need help and support in. So hearing some of the things that you offer to help people in a time of need, all of these things need people. So I'm sure you're not selling life insurance policies to squirrels in Long Island.
No.
Or any of the dolphins off the coast of Long Island Beach, but you need to contact people and reach people. So are there times of the year, are there concerns as a new startup? Have there been issues in trying to build your business?
Yes, absolutely. One, when you start your own business, that's not necessarily like a known name. The biggest thing is getting your name out there. So, trying to use social media and different things to create brand awareness. can be difficult, especially, like granted, this is an easy enough name, just Rise Up Financial Agency, right? Um, but it's something most people have never heard of up until recently. So you realize that it takes a bit more advertising and a bit more convincing to get people to trust you with their finances up front. So I have to over deliver when I help a client to let them know, like, you are making the right choice when you work with me.
So one of the struggles being new has been branding and marketing.
Yeah.
And for the viewers out there, and for you, you're new to our show. This is Ed Fox's specialty. This is
Okay.
another reason why we do the show. Branding and marketing is what he's all about. So
Okay.
here's your opportunity to ask him a specific question to help you. I know, and the call's not about this, but I know that BNI has been beneficial in helping you start to look at building business and relationships with clientele differently. But
Yeah.
what question might you have for Ed Fox, small business extraordinaire, that helps with marketing and branding? I mean, he's got so much that our prior guest said it took her 3 years to finally get through the list of advice that he gave. And
Oh,
she
wow.
just launched a book successfully. And she said it took her 3 years because he's a fire hydrant of information, but it's a blessing. And it was great to have her on the show talking about her new book and all the support that Ed has given her in the past. So here's your chance, Joe Scott.
So,
You
Joe,
get
is
to
there
see
something?
Paul every week. Now you get to see Ed Fox. What do you want to ask him?
So, is there something that you are struggling with the most that would make a huge difference if you solve that challenge?
Um, Keeping a steady stream of clientele coming in, not even necessarily, having them write the business. I'm confident enough that if I can get in front of enough people, that I will make the sale, right? It's more or less finding enough people to talk to. That's definitely where I'm struggling.
Right. So that's a challenge that most of us face. In fact, I continually face that as well. Paul and I, with this podcast, we want to grow the viewership, right? So that's a challenge for us. And so we're doing certain things with that. So I totally get where you're coming from. And I bet you there's at least 3 people out there listening to us or watching us that are nodding their heads. Because I say we have three listeners, my mom, my sister, and my aunt. So that which is unfair because we've looked at the numbers and they're all over the world that they're watching this, which is pretty cool. One of the first things that I recommend people do is look at the things that interest them. So think about when you're not working, Joe, what is it that you find enjoyment doing?
Okay. I like to go to the movies with my family.
Okay, so
Or my
movie
wife.
buff, you and
Yeah,
I are on that same page. Okay,
yeah,
Family. That's key.
family. Yeah, family time.
right.
I like to, go out to dinner, probably a little too much.
Yep, you and me both. Yep.
Um, I like sports activities. Like I recently went to a Brooklyn Nets game.
I don't know what is that basketball?
Yes.
Basketball. Yeah.
Okay. I I got it
That's
right.
okay.
Woohoo!
That's okay. But I keep listening and keep interrupting because that's what I do. Um, Family, clearly 40 plus years in the business. And again, the call is not about Paul, but 40 plus years in the business. If you're in the insurance industry and you're helping individuals and families in the time of their need, it's all about family. So, Ed, keep drawing from him. We need to hear more about this family part of you, Joe, that you need to get that passion that you have for family, like going to the movies and going to dinner, to Paul's family. So I feel comfortable about doing business with you because you're such a family oriented person. I'm your
Right.
mentor at BNI. We haven't discussed this.
Right.
I'm
And
glad to
that's
hear
a good
family.
that's a good point. So folks, what we want to do is we want to draw out our interests because each one of those interests is something that we can talk on to build that know, like, and trust. So we have families, we have movies, we have sports, we have food. Any other do you have any hobbies that aren't what we've already talked about?
Yes. I actually have a radio show of my own.
Okay.
Where we play, like faith-based hip hop and R&B. and we discussed, trending topics.
Okay. So radio show, faith-based. So what do you do for fun when you're not doing these things?
What do I do for fun? I go to the gym.
Okay.
Have pizza with Paul.
Yes, have pizza with Paul.
That's fun.
So sometimes I play video games.
What type of video games are your favorite?
Basketball and sports games.
Okay, so goal-oriented, achievement-oriented video games. You've got
competition.
Goal.
Yes.
Right, video games competition.
You so, like competition.
What you've got there is you've just given me 6 different things: families, movies, sports, food, radio, gym, and video games that you can do. Each one of those things relates to some of your potential clients.
Okay.
Okay. So there are 6 topics, or 6 or 7, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 topics here. I can't count. 7 topics that you can talk about. Now think about when you write down families, movies, sports, food, radio show, gym, and video games, think about subtopics under that, right? So you now have a series of subtopics. So now you have enough content for social media for the next 20 years. Because people will do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Okay. There's an amazing book called Endless Referrals by Bob Burg, B-O-B-B-U-R-G, Endless Referrals. That book changed my networking life.
Okay.
Now, there's also a ton of great books by Ivan Misner, the founder of BNI. But Bob Burg and Ivan Misner wrote a book together. I just found this out a few months ago. But Bob Burg's Endless Referrals will help you build that like, know, and trust. And so here's the thing that most people don't like to talk about when it comes to financial planning and financial literacy. None of us like to say, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
That's our biggest challenge. None of us want to say, you know what? I suck at this. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's true.
The second book I highly recommend is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, it's on my list. Well, get it off your friggin' list and get it read.
Yeah, I've read that. I read that many years ago.
Okay, then it's time to read it again because it's a few day read. The tip to reading a book. When you're looking at a book, here's one that I haven't really got too much into, The Pill Method. It's an amazing book. It talks about how if we think of an amortization schedule and we just made a payment, how much interest we're saving on that payment. So when we can make additional payments and subtract these lines. So what you do is when you're reading through the book, you write the notes in the back covers. And then you can review that book in about 15 minutes. I got a HD camera, folks. It's an ADHD camera. It can't focus. So for those of you that were seeing me go out of focus there because I'm lifting up the book. But you've got a couple of blank pages in most books that you just write your top 6 or 7 points that you take away, put it up on the shelf. Next year you pick it up. You just read those 7 points that it meant something to you. Just make the notes in the back of a book. A book that sits on the shelf and never gets read is a waste of time. So
is that a Norwegian book?
No, it's a guy from Huntsville, Alabama.
Try that again. Is that a Norwegian book?
No, I don't know what you're getting at. Oh, sorry. He wants me. You meant.
Well, you finally threw in a joke. You finally threw in an Ed Fox joke.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh. So my favorite dad joke.
You talked about the focus of the camera.
Oh, yeah, the ADHD camera. No. Yeah, there you go.
So I thought if I threw in, is it a Norwegian book, you would tell our listeners.
Well, I think you're getting confused between my 2 favorite jokes. The Norwegian story is, did you hear about the Norwegian Navy putting barcodes on the sides of their warships?
That's my favorite story.
So that's when they come back to port.
Yeah, have you heard of that? Have you heard of that, Joe Scott?
I have not.
All right, go ahead. Do it again, Ed. I'm sorry, I interrupt.
When the Norwegian Navy comes back to port, they've put barcodes on the sides of their warships so they can Scandinavian. That's folks. That's available on my dad jokes. But man, I was on a roll, and
you are on a roll. Keep going. What passion?
So the fact is, you can take all these topics. You can read a book in 15 minutes when you write the stuff in the back. How do you bring in new clients? You have to be authentic. Okay. because God has given humans, whether they are believers or not, God has given us the innate ability to pick up on bullshit, right? We can pick up and read BS very easily. You ever had a salesman that's desperate to make a sale?
Yes.
It oozes out of their pores, their desperation. You know, they've got a house payment to make, a car payment to make, the baby needs formula, and they're desperate to make a sale. And for whatever reason, we as humans back away from that desperation, right? So we need to be our authentic self when we are talking to potential clients, because authenticity shines through.
So we're attacking here on this show today. We don't normally attack Joe Scott, and he's loving it. We're attacking Joe Scott for our listeners. No, we're not attacking, but he's not getting much of a chance to speak. But I'm going to say something because I interrupt. So I'm going to testify to the fact that I'm telling you, Joe Scott is authentic. He's absolutely authentic. Joe Scott's issue is, how do you get Joe Scott's confidence in how authentic he is to Ed Fox? I'm telling you, he's authentic. So most people are not authentic. He's authentic. It's that next step to Ed Fox to build that relationship that Joe struggles with. And I know that from working with him.
Yeah, it's all part of the process, right? So that's great, because I don't know Joe, so I'm glad that that is true. So think about, now we take our eyes off ourselves, and I would say, based on what you've told me you do, I would say that you're good at this also, which is to focus on other people, right? You want to help other people. The only reason you do this is most of us as business owners do our business because we want to help others. You talk to 99% of small business owners, they want to help other people. That's why they're small business owners. They're not ruthless. They're not stepping on other people to get where they want to go. They are authentic about helping other people. So that's what you focus on. So now you can reach out to other people based on these 7 things that we've talked about that you like to do that are important to you. You can create audiences on these things, and you can offer your skill set to these people. But they have to know you, like you, and trust you before they will spend time with you talking about their finances. So whatever platforms you like to use, whether that be a written platform, whether that be a TikTok, a Facebook, a YouTube, these are all platforms that you can get your message out, and that message works for you 24/7, 365. Okay. The other thing you need to do is outside of the box thinking, something that other people don't do, but it has to fit your authenticity. One of my favorites is, I have this little plastic foot that I bought on Amazon for $8. It goes inside a woman's shoe, and they put them on display. And so imagine if you boxed up this plastic transparent foot in a box with a letter on top that says, "Hey, my name's Joe Scott. I just want to be totally transparent with you. I'm trying to get a foot in the door." Then they pull out this foot, and they're going to go,
"That's transparent.
He's being transparent. He's trying to get a foot in the door." You know, and down the bottom, you say, "Oh, down the bottom, there's an extra special gift. There's a couple of wrapped brownies that say, hey, I'm just trying to score some extra brownie points to get that meeting." Whether you get the meeting or not, you're going to get a call or an email.
Right.
Okay. And you can start to build on that relationship. You back that up with a series of postcards or emails, and you be consistent. So you need some automation that talks from your authenticity. People most of the time need to see 15 to 20 times something before they act on it. The first 7 times, they just ignore it. Unless they're right in the market for it and they have a need right now. But only 2% of the people that you talk to are going to have a need right away. Is any of that resonating?
Yes, absolutely.
So these are the things, and you and I can do a one-on-one and go more in depth in this, but think about something that is authentic to you, that is different than what other people do, and don't be afraid to be yourself. Unless you're a serial killer, then don't be that change, right? That's the name of the book. But you can use that authenticity and the 7 topics we've talked about to reach people. I had a lady that's a financial planner that is a big gamer. When we are big gamers, other than sports games, when we play the Dungeon Master games and that sort of stuff, we're trying to accumulate gems to buy better armor. We want to buy better armor so we live longer, so we can progress further in the game. And I said, what if you did a series of videos on that because most gamers spend more time worrying about their financial health inside the game than they ever worry about their financial health outside the game. So what if you show them, hey, instead of collecting fake currency and gems and gold and armor, why not build armor out in the real world by protecting your family with a shield of financial stability through good financial planning? Don't be afraid to say, you know what, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say that I suck at managing my finances, but how do you get me to open up? Well, you got to build that relationship. So you got to find a way to keep in touch with them again and again and again. Newsletters, if you can bring up consistency in a newsletter. Postcards, I love postcards. In fact, Paul and I send out cards and mailbox power and have thousands of cards that we send and receive every day. We're sending and receiving postcards. I've got Paul on a series. He gets a postcard a month from me that's a positive quote that is inexpensive to do, 44 cents a postcard, just pay for postage. So you can do programs like that can come from, for those of you listening, Paul was holding up a postcard. You can come from the things you know that build those relationships. Then you can offer virtual meetings where they can ask questions. They can keep their camera off. The people don't need to see who they are. You can change the names as they come in. They can just be anonymous people if they set up their Zoom that way, and they can ask you questions. Or you could do it in a format where they don't be seen on screen. It's just you on the screen, and they ask the questions in chat, and you answer those. You got financial questions, I've got answers, because they want to remain anonymous until they know you, like you, and trust you.
Joe, you have to come back. You see how passionate it gets. Normally, our guests get to speak more. One, you have to come back. You have to come back soon. So one, you got to come back. Two, we're about to run out of time. We have our next guest coming in from Texas. But before we run out of time, it'll be such a blessing to come back. I want you to digest some of this. And as Ed was thinking and talking, I'm thinking to myself, we never say to the viewers, because we really wanted about our guest, hey, we want the viewers to reach out to us. So you two need to do a one-to-one, which is a BNI term. And we want viewers to contact us outside the call. So quickly give us some closing information on how someone can reach you.
Sure. You can contact me easily on all social media at Rise Up Financial Agency. The website is riseupfinancialagency.com, and all my personal contact information is on all of those sites, where you can easily, take a look at what we offer. You can schedule appointments. You can shoot me an email, or you can even give me a call so that we can discuss, what exactly you're looking to do and what your goals are. We want to help you accomplish all of your goals. We want to help you build towards your future and just prepare to live your best life financially.
Cool. And Joe, it doesn't matter whether they have $80 a month to invest or $8 million to invest.
Does not matter.
You have a team and you have resources that you can help them with. Just folks, get the best time to get started in financial management and financial wealth building was yesterday. The next best time is today. Yes. So just get with Joe and he can help you. Joe, we'll have all your contact information in the chat. Thanks so much for being on the show.
And real quick, with one last interruption, and I don't want to edit this out. So Jeremy, you'll be in this part too with Joe. For the listeners and the ones who know me, I talked earlier about authenticity with Joe. I recently referred an individual to him for insurance. That's how much I know, like, and trust Joe. So I referred someone to him to purchase insurance because I'm no longer writing it. So he's like a disciple to me. I referred it to him. That's how much I trust him. And that was to protect someone else's life.
And I really appreciated that as well, Paul, especially considering Paul's been in the industry for such a long time. And the number of people that he could have referred it to, he decided to help me. I really took that as an honor.
Awesome.
Joe, thank you for being here. Jeremy, thank you for popping in. Ed, thank you for doing a wonderful job of co-host.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul. Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate it. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube. Thanks a lot and have a great day.